What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Zuggy Zone. It is a beautiful day because football is back. It's NFL kickoff Thursday. I'm Zuggy. He's Jet. Jet, how you doing today?
Howdy, everybody. I am doing phenomenal. I have been dying. Don't get me wrong, I'm a UFL fan, St. Louis Battlehawks all the way. But NFL football is back, baby,
Come on,
and it is
baby.
strong this year. And it starts with by far probably one of the most, toxic and one of the most disgusting matchups that we'll see of the year, and that is the Cowboys versus the Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm not going to really watch it for enjoyment. I'm going to watch it. I'll be honest with you. Don't like either team. But football's football.
I would prefer if the Cowboys win tonight just to give other teams a chance. I hate the Cowboys. I hate the Eagles. But would love to see the Cowboys get it because that would really shake things up and screw the Eagles over later in the season. But it's not going to happen. We both know who we're picking in that one. But if you are trying to watch football this Sunday coming up, a lot of us like to use Red Zone. It's a great service. And Jet, they just did something to ruin it. What happened?
I mean, here's the thing. Red Zone has been a staple for the NFL season for years. You know, it gets you the quick highlights. It gets you that touchdown feeling. You know, you don't want all that extra little bit. So you went to Red Zone. So that way, you know, you get all the action, the feeling of the rah-rah of a Sunday football. However, one of the greatest parts was that there were no commercials. You tuned into Red Zone, so it was nonstop action for hours and hours on end. You didn't have to worry about a baby white commercial or a soda commercial or a skin lotion commercial. No. You got football. But now, unfortunately, they did away with that. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just like how the rest of the NFL is adapting to it, Red Zone is now getting commercials, which is just absolute. It is like a cardinal sin against the football gods to put, commercials on Red Zone.
It's bad.
It's
and you had to
aggravating.
pay extra to access Red Zone before. It is not a station that you just get on cable. You have to pay the extra subscription to access it. And now you're going to get double box commercials. So you'll have the game and whatever Red Zone wants to show you in one box and an ad in the other. And that is going to take away Scott Hansen for a bit. You're going to have 30 seconds of where you're not going to hear Hansen anymore. You're going to hear BK, have it your way.
Your way? I was going to say Whopper.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of people are now thinking, hey, we're going to boycott Red Zone this season. And, one of the best ways people could do that was pirating websites. And
Yes, sir.
the most prominent of all of them, the granddaddy, StreamEast, was unfortunately taken down the other day. And I just wanted to share some words for the creators of the website and for all of us that have experienced it over all these years, because StreamEast was near and dear to my heart. I know you have some memories with it, and we've lost it.
I'll tell you a personal story, but I want you to get your thoughts out there.
Well, I've never done a eulogy before, and it's, strange to do a eulogy for a website and for people that didn't die, although the two people responsible are going to get arrested and spend a lot of time in prison because you just defrauded the NFL and all these sports leagues out of millions of dollars. But in a world where these cable companies and streaming services and the ownership of these leagues make it harder and more expensive for us to watch their products, two men created a service to fix it. StreamEast gave every fan the opportunity to enjoy sports the right way, and while the companies kept moving their stuff off of main cable and moved it on to Peacock and YouTube TV, StreamEast was always there. We could always log in and watch for free, back out of the two ads that you'd get, and hop right into every broadcast. And now we're not going to have that ability. We're going to have to pony up and have to pay for the other things or find other pirating websites, which do exist, but StreamEast was the OG. And I know for me, I got to watch Albert Pujols hit his 700th home run on StreamEast. I got to watch Red Zone with my teammates on bus trips on StreamEast. And I got to watch the Mariners walk it off into the playoffs on StreamEast. And it was always there for us. It was there for every out-of-market fan. I'm a Bills fan. I can't watch Bills games here. You can't just log in. I don't have a normal cable station. I could log into Stream East and watch every game. I can watch the Mariners play, even if I don't want to watch them play right now because they're awful at the moment.
Yeah.
And every Cardinals game that would go onto Roku or go to Apple TV, we could hop onto Stream East. So my hat's off to the two gents that created it. I know they committed a crime and they did some bad things, and Stream East still isn't technically down if you know how to access it. But, thoughts to those guys, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to watch sports the right way.
So, in that same vein, the past 4 years I've been in the military. I was active duty, and I was stationed in Hawaii. And let me tell you now, if it's not the Raiders, if it's not the Chargers or the Rams, or any of those West Coast teams, you don't see them. You don't watch them. They're out of market. And even when I was in Poland at a time, Stream East was there for me to access to watch those games. It allowed me, I had a war room set up my first year of doing fantasy of 4 different games, and all of them were running on Stream East. While I get that it is illegal, I understand. Stream East allowed me to get into football and sports as much as I am right now. It's what makes this show possible for your boy Jet to be able to be as knowledgeable as he is. If it was not for Stream East, one half of this show would be essentially a guy who knows nothing about sports versus a guy who does. So, while I get that they did wrong, I wish Stream East was back. I'd give anything to get Stream East back, man.
And if you know where to look,
It's a sad time.
It's still there.
It's there.
But I can't. We're not going to leak that stuff out there. Look, go to Reddit, go to 4chan. The links are there, but not on this YouTube stream. So today on this show, we are going to be talking about some more uplifting, more fun stuff because, we did just lose something we love, but we're getting NFL football back. So it's a bit of a trade. We're going to move into our weekly wrap-up with our first story of the week, the Kawhi Clippers drama. So if you guys are not familiar at home with what's going on, essentially some private investigators looked into a payment made to Kawhi Leonard through a now bankrupt tree company owned by the Clippers owner, and he was paid $28 million, not to market, not to do anything, just to sign the contract, which was paid for by the owner, which does not count towards the cap. Jet, what are your thoughts on this, and what do you think the punishment should be for the Clippers?
That is sleazebag to the max. That is finding a loophole that you're technically not breaking the rules, but you broke the rules, dude. That is really like the ultimate billionaire backdoor deal of, hey, look, these other guys can't afford you. We technically can't either with the cap space. But let me bankrupt a small business of mine real quick, slide you 28 mil out of the, 28 mil out of pocket just to get you to sign for cap. Like, that is...
Right. Because, you could have hired him on and actually had him do marketing and social media and try to make the company function. But instead,
exactly,
it looks like fraud, and it's not like money laundering, but in sports terms, this would be the equivalent of money laundering, of money under the table, and it's not Kawhi's fault because, be real. If a guy came up to you and said, sign this paper and I'll give you 28 M's, you're taking the 28 M's. As long as it doesn't violate his contract, we'd all do it. Yeah, the 28 million is a lot of money.
No, I'm not blaming Kawhi in the slightest. Look, get your bag, dude. You're only an athlete for so long, and your name is not attached. You're just receiving the money. While it might have been a little scummy, you're just receiving the money. You're getting paid because you're talent. Kudos to you. Not mad at you in the slightest. However, the Clippers organization, y'all need to fix yourselves, because that is some ultimate conniving backdoor dealing stuff. As far as punishment, this might be a little drastic. I don't think it ever happens. If they get into the playoffs or even get to the finals, automatic forfeit.
No.
Automatic forfeit. They're not allowed in the playoffs or anything this year.
You can't do that,
Automatic
though. Like, that's not a
forfeit.
thing the leagues would ever do.
No, it's not a thing the leagues would
Like,
ever
just
do, but
take
I'm
some
saying
first-round
that's what
picks.
needs to happen.
Fine them the money.
I'd say take the first round picks. It's like, all right, you want to spend all that money to invest in your future with this dude? Obviously, you don't need these picks for the future, and just take their picks and throw them in the draft lottery, essentially. Just
Well,
hey,
it's not like the Clippers ever draft well anyways, and they seem to throw away their picks on mid-tier players. Historically, not the greatest team in existence, still irrelevant even with the Kawhi acquisition. But what I think is interesting here is, for one, you had an employee come out of this company that went bankrupt that basically heard through the different channels that, yeah, this is to circumvent the cap. And they heard that like directly from management. So that's pretty damning. And whenever Kawhi was moving from the Raptors to the Clippers, the Lakers were also a destination that were favored to get him, which you would go to the Lakers to play with LeBron James over the Clippers any day. I feel like most of us would do that.
Little caveat there: if LeBron is even like, if he's going to be there for the next season.
But at
Lakers
that
might trade him,
point,
which is weird to think of.
At that point, he was still going to be there for a few years. We're going a few years back when Kawhi signed.
Oh, yeah.
So Lakers still looking good, still have talent on their team. And Kawhi said, I want to play for the Clippers to play with Paul George. I don't buy it. I think it's the 28 M's you're getting behind the scenes from the owner. And
it has to be.
The last thing on this is the private investigator that uncovered this is now looking into the Knicks potentially for Jalen Brunson's contract, as he took a big pay cut, and there might be some stuff there. He hinted at it on a show today that he was on. So the Knicks, watch yourself. Go clean those books really fast and figure out your finances, because you got a man coming after you.
Make sure you're all good, because if you're not, they just expose the Clippers. They're not afraid of hitting you where it hurts.
Or they can just pay off the investigator and say, shoo, get out of here, man. But it seems like this guy has some integrity to go after these teams, and it's always easy to dunk on the Clippers. But the Knicks, that's a brand. That has a huge market. They're finals contenders. That would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to move into our second story, which is a bunch of stories. College football was back this weekend. It was beautiful. And the three things we want to talk about today: FSU taking down Bama, Bill Belichick's debut, and Arch Manning kind of sucking against OSU. So we're going to start off here with the FSU game, as FSU came into this one unranked. Bama, number 8 team in the country, and Bama just looked bad. The effort wasn't there from their players. Their defense struggled a lot. It wasn't like FSU came out and lit up the world. They just got it done on the ground. 230 yards on the ground for FSU in the game, while only completing 9 passes. You cannot be number 8 in the country and come in and the other team completes 9 passes and you lose the football game. You can't do that, especially when they were awful last year. FSU was dookie.
2-10. 2-10 last year. 2-10. Which, this spans, bear in mind, this spans back to 2 years ago. College football playoffs are getting announced. Who's in, who's out? Bama has 1 loss on their record. FSU is, they're perfect. 12-0. Bama's 11-1. But guess who gets in? Bama. Bama gets in. FSU is cheated. They get 5th, 6th place. They are not able to compete. The next year, they're like, let's prove it. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. 2-10. They did awful. They're bad. Stinky. Real bad. The year after, they meet Bama for the season opener. And not only does FSU upset them by almost doubling their score, they hand Bama their first season opening loss in 24 years. 24 years. Alabama hasn't lost its first game since 2001 when they lost to UCLA. Now FSU comes in And they're setting a terrible tone for this new head coach. I mean, you're already hearing from top analysts, from the fans, fire him. Like, Bama didn't have a bad season last year, but they lost a couple games they should have won. Now they lost their season opener. People want blood. People are out for blood with that one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that, they brought this coach in after he makes the national title game with Washington. And with Washington, the offense was fairly simple. Penix, throw it to Rome, and he's going to head tap somebody. Now he actually has to coach. And you're seeing the players aren't responding to it, and you have other people clowning on him. I mean, the quarterback for FSU came into this game, Tommy Castellanos, and said, they don't have Nick Saban to save them. I don't see them stopping me. And that is a very scary thing to say when this is your first time starting for a new team going against Bama, and he backed it up. I mean, they made Bama look stupid. And what bothers me with Bama is, back in the day, even if you gave a great effort on a play and Saban didn't think it was enough, he'd pull you to the side and tear you a new one. Now we're seeing some lackluster effort where players aren't hustling down the field. They're not blocking. They're not going after somebody. Oh, he'll tackle him. Surely he'll make the play and then miss tackle or falls off the guy, and all of a sudden the extra guy gets 10 more yards on the play. That is stuff you cannot have, and that starts with the head coach and head of the program, and it goes down to the rest of the players.
Bama used to be that program where you went there and it was just as intense, if not more so, than basic training of, like, the military for any of it. Like, you went in knowing that you had long days, like early mornings, late nights. You were on that field day in, day out. You didn't have time for anything extra. You didn't have time to go do extra stuff. I mean, let's bring it back to Henry Ruggs III, right? He gets into the league, and he gets in trouble pretty quick. But Nick Saban literally goes out and says, look, he made a dumb mistake, and yeah, he did bad things, but he is a good kid. And if somebody would have just taken his keys, he might have been mad at you, but a good kid would not be sitting in prison. Which, I'm sure he was a good dude, but bear in mind, none of that happened while he was at Bama. That only happened as soon as he hit the league. With the Raiders of all teams.
Right, because they have to answer to Saban. They're scared to screw up.
And I'm not going to lie, even if I was there, I wouldn't want to answer to Saban. Are you kidding me? I'd keep my nose clean. But now you have a new coach, and I think the funniest comparisons that I'm seeing are players are now, they're like, oh, players used to get berated for making the smallest mistake, and they'd go run laps, they'd do this, they'd do that. It was a football program. Now you have players doing TikTok dances in the locker room instead of focusing on their plays. And it's like, allow kids to have fun, but now that they lost their season opener,
yeah,
maybe they got a point.
Well, they definitely felt it in the rankings, and another team that had some hype coming into this year was the University of North Carolina, because they got this new shiny head coach, which I wouldn't call him new and shiny, actually. He's quite old and dusty. Belichick coming in to take over the program with his 20-year-old girlfriend, with his son as the DC, and with Freddie Kitchens as his offensive coordinator. Yeah, that really inspired confidence in me, and a lot of people saw through it, but after that first drive of that game against TCU, they go right down the field, a deep ball. A few plays later, they're in the end zone. We're like, okay. This looks good. And then they lose 48-14. So not exactly the performance they were looking from in their debut with Bill Belichick. God. And there's more stuff we're going to talk about with things that Bill is doing wrong with the program. But let's just go on the field. What were your expectations for North Carolina? And did you like Belichick signing here and becoming the head coach and head of program?
Look, I wasn't even a fan of Belichick coming to UNC in the first place. I wasn't even a fan of him joining college football. College football is an entirely different beast than the NFL. I've had to explain that to some of my own friends when they're like, oh, well, his college stats are really good and all that when they go into the NFL. And I'm like, college is different. College isn't necessarily easier, but it is.
Yeah.
College ball is easier than NFL football. And I was not a fan of the Belichick signing because it doesn't make sense. Like, it didn't make sense to have Belichick, come into an environment that he has no idea. You put him in, like, a lower end school of the big college ball scene, but you almost give him entire control of the program as well going into it. As far as my expectations for the game, they were high. They were 110% high. I had the expectation of, okay, you are Bill Belichick. You're bringing your son. You are bringing the OC that you feel is the best for this program. I have my expectations high for you. And if you don't, deliver on that, that's bad. 48-14 in your first college game ever. That is just absolutely embarrassing. Because you gotta think, 6 Super Bowls in the NFL, countless playoffs, countless whatever. Like, it is embarrassing that your first game in college world is a blowout. It's a blowout.
And sorry about that. I just got a call. My car is ready for pickup later today, so I will be getting my car back.
Very nice.
I agree with you on this, and my main gripe with the way he's been running things and the way UNC went about this is you gave a man who at the end of his NFL career was really struggling to evaluate talent in draft. Bill Belichick got control of the Patriots as a coach and as a GM at the very end and had some very poor drafts, had a lot of reaches, and if you're going to be the head of a program, you need to be able to evaluate talent and get good recruits in. And I understand recruits are going to want to play for him, but he still has to evaluate it and put the best team out there. And that is his responsibility, and maybe he did put together a good team and their game plan failed. But it didn't. You watch that game and you say the game plan looked okay. The players just did not look good. There were a lot of blown coverages. TCU made a lot of outstanding plays, and UNC just didn't do enough. And outside of the game, you mentioned the OC, Freddie Kitchens. He was with the Browns for a long time. Then he was with the Giants. Then he came in to UNC's program and eventually took over as interim head coach last season. When he was with the Browns, even when Baker Mayfield was having a decent season, they never finished in the top half of the league in offense. When he was with the Giants, they finished second to last in the league in offense that season. Last year with UNC, they finished in the bottom half of their conference in offense. He is not a good OC or a play caller, and yet Bill Belichick trusts him to do that. And then you have his son. His son was behind him a lot of years in New England, but he never really had a lot of responsibility. He was more of a position coach. He comes in and starts to run the defense. You give up 48 points. I understand your team played bad. You can't give up 48. You can't do it. Especially when you had these expectations and you had a decent offseason when it came to recruiting. It's a Nepo baby thing, I think, still is he's coming in and getting these opportunities because Belichick is his dad. And he also had an opportunity last year. He was the DC at Washington, and they finished 11th in points per game against. So not good. You're like middle of the pack to bottom. And that's another program that recruits well. That is in a conference that has some crappy teams in it. And his team didn't look outstanding. So he comes into UNC that gives up 48 points. The offense doesn't look good. I'm questioning his decision-making on how he's built up his coaching staff.
I don't, Belichick just needs... I don't think Belichick as a coach needs to be done. I think he needs to very harshly reevaluate his coordinator positions. Because Kitchener's not getting it done. He can't get it done. And you're better off, hiring Joe Schmo from the college than going with Kitchener. And as far as his son, dude, Nepo baby or not, get out. Get out. You You can't run the defense. You can't. 48 points. You failed on both sides of the ball. You failed on both sides. Your offense couldn't do nothing. Your defense couldn't do nothing, and that is your coordinator's fault.
And you still got to give Bill some of the blame for that too.
Bill's 100% to blame, but at the same time, those coordinators have less of a buyout than what Bill will.
Yeah, so get some better
Bill has
minds
the
in there.
name and everything.
But he's always struggled with that. I mean, even when he was with the Patriots, his game planning and his ability to coach, and also having Tom Brady on his team, really did bail out the fact that he had Josh McDaniels in there and Patricia in there being his coordinators. Guys that were awful as head coaches, awful play callers when they went to other places. He surrounded himself with idiots, and yet they still managed to win. But he had a lot more say with those teams. He was younger. He had more energy. He was more motivated. I don't know if he can bail out the idiots that he has now. And we're going to move on to another person that had a lot of hype, because this week was about teams with hype not really living up to it. The Texas Longhorns didn't look great. Only put up 7 points in their game against OSU. Still going to be fine in the rankings because OSU is a great team. But Arch Manning did not look good. And I know bet is over, and I bet is over. You went on passing yards. I went on touchdowns for last week of Battle of the Bets. Neither one hit. I only got one touchdown. You only got 170 yards, and I think you needed 230 or 240 or something. And we were...
I needed somewhere in the 200s.
We were inhaling the hopium. We were like, dude, Arch Manning is that guy. I mean, he's going to be great. No doubt about it.
They put so much time and effort into Manning. Like, oh, we got a Manning at quarterback. We got a Manning at quarterback. He's not going to the draft. He'll be there this year. He'll be here next year. We're all in. We're all in behind him. Kind of like Jerry Jones. We're all in. But, all in? One touchdown? That's it?
Yeah, not great. Not ideal on the slightest there. And one thing I want to draw some attention to is you can look at that game and you can see him missing guys that are wide open, making bad reads, looking panicked back there. But there is something that I believe is the problem, and some people have pointed out, he's dealing with a shoulder injury right now, and his throwing motion looked really bad during the game. Did not look like himself. Looked like Uncle Rico throwing the football. And I have a video to show you, and I know you can see it on my other monitor here. This is what his throwing motion looked like on a wide open play with a runner moving across the field. Sidearm, awkward, trying not to use the shoulder, a lot of elbow in the wrist. I think he's favoring...
Elbow, wrist, and he's like fingertipping it. He's like curving it and then like flicking it with his fingertips.
And I
to
just
try and like give it some spin.
He's definitely playing through an injury because with all the people he's had around him his entire career, all the people he's got to work with, and all the help he's had from quarterback coaches, they didn't teach him that. And he didn't look like that last year. So I'm thinking it's an injury, and I'm hoping that he'll turn it around because he is talented. He's had some good games already in college football. Last year playing against Mississippi State, that was his first real test, and I get Mississippi State's bad. He looked pretty solid in that one. And the other game, his team put up 50 points that he started against a lesser school. So just give him time. If he just figures things out and doesn't make huge mistakes throughout the rest of the season, Texas will be fine, and then eventually, hopefully, he grows into himself as a player and becomes the star we all know he can be.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to move on? Because I think we can move on to our final story, which is...
You know what? Let's hit it.
Micah Parsons. He's dealing with a back injury. And it sounds like he may need to have a large injection in his back just so he can play. Despite the fact that he says he's ready to go, despite the fact that his physical said, we're good, and the Packers ran another physical saying, he's all right, he can play. Dude, if you got to take a massive pain injection in your back just so you can play football, I don't know if you're okay.
It is a sprain in the L4, L5, like spinal area. And they are talking about giving him an epidural. And for those of you at home that don't know what an epidural is normally given during child pregnancy to deal with the pain. And the needles are about yay long. They're massive, and they go directly into your spine. They are talking about giving that to Micah Parsons before the game this weekend. for a sprain. Ooh.
Do you think he should play?
No, not at all. You just paid. All right, let me get into this real quick. Y'all sit down, get comfy, because I got a couple problems. You just paid this man for 5 years. You traded away your first-round picks for the next couple of years, which, let's be honest, they were never going to be like first-round draft picks because it's Green Bay. They haven't had like a first-rounder. They haven't had a top 10 first-rounder in years. So it's a low first round, but it's still a first round nonetheless. You traded away part of your future to get this guy. You also gave him buku bucks to stay in Green Bay for the next 5 years. And now you are fucking with spinal injury. Pardon the language, but you are messing with spinal injuries, which could end his career in the next couple weeks if you keep doing this. An epidural is supposed to numb the pain. It is not meant as a fix-it. This is not your car makes a weird noise so you slap some grease on it and magically the noise goes away. No. He's still going to have that sprain in his back, but he's going to be playing with less pain. So now he's going to be playing on a sprain that could possibly turn into a tear or something worse in the spine of all places. That should be your first go-to of any organization is you do not mess with a spinal injury, rest him. You have him for 4 years after. You were already banking on not having him this season. Rest him.
I'm with you on that.
Put him on the bench. Put him on IR for 4 weeks. Put him on IR, bring him back after, reevaluate. He will be fine. Just bring him in week 5, he'll be okay. But you are risking this man's entire career for a week 1 game. A week 1 game of his first year of a 5-year contract.
It is a divisional
Beyond
game.
me.
I think that's part of the argument with the Packers is they want him in this game because you're going up against the Lions. And I believe that the Packers could win this football game if Parsons plays. And if he doesn't play, I don't know if they win. I'm with you, though. You invested 2 first-rounders, and you gave up a defensive tackle that has been really good for you over the last few years, and that might hurt your run defense not having him this year. You invested a lot to get this guy, right as your Super Bowl window is supposed to be opening. So don't destroy the guy you just traded for that can put you over the top. Make sure he's healthy late in the season and the playoffs, because the Packers should make it. I don't know if they're going to win the division. The Vikings and the Lions could be really, really good. But when you get to the playoffs, you need a guy that can make the play. And I know as a Bills fan, we play the Chiefs every year, and we never get to him. We can't get him on the ground. We cannot stop him. When it's 3rd down and the game's on the line, he gets the football away. Well, with Micah Parsons on your team, you might be able to get him on the ground. Do not injure him. Do not throw away his career. You invested way too much in this guy. I would not be starting him week 1. I get it. It's against the team that you want to beat, that you want to compete in the division for, but be realistic here and do not make it worse.
No, and look, if you don't want to put him on IR and bench him for 4 weeks, I understand. Week 4, you play the Cowboys, and that's like a vendetta game. You want to play Parsons against the Cowboys. I get it. Use their own, essentially use their own person who never wanted to leave against them and show, you should have paid him because now we have him. I understand that. It's petty, but it's the business. But for the love of God, rest him the first 3 weeks. Just say he's not playing. Just move him down the depth chart. Move him to, the 3rd string. To where you know you'll never use him.
Yeah, or, limited snaps.
But he's there dressed. Yeah, he's there dressed. Right? But if he plays week 1, I'm excited to see what he does. However, I don't think he should be getting off the bench. I don't think he should be getting off the bench week 1. Week 1 or week 2. I think he needs to rest both those weeks.
All right, well, that is all for this week's weekly wrap-up. We're going to move into our first ever Pick'em Challenge. And, Justin, I need you to lock in here with the chat. You're going to be putting those polls in, so you guys watching get to say,
gotcha.
Who are you taking in these games as we show you guys what we have planned. And we're going to start off with me. First game of the year between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Let's take a look at our ESPN Pick'em Challenge here. I got the Eagles. Let's be real here. the Eagles are a better team. They have better coaching, and there's no reason why they shouldn't win this football game, and there's a reason why 94% of people are taking the Eagles in this one on ESPN.
And to be honest, I think I have the same one on my pick'ems. I have the exact same one on my pick'ems. Here, I'll pull mine up real quick so I can show you.
You better not have the Cowboys, or else I think your opinions on sports are invalid.
Yeah. Talk about how I watched Stream Meets and learned all my sports. Apparently, I didn't learn enough. No, I 100% have the Eagles. And it was funny, especially today. Apparently, Adam Schefter said that, like, the Eagles actively pursued Micah Parsons as well. Could you imagine if Parsons went to the Eagles instead of Packers and they had to play him week 1? Oh, that would have hurt. That would have been
one of the greatest defenses ever assembled if he was on that defense.
Phenomenal. Oh, my God. I'm glad I have him in fantasy. I'd never trade him. I might actually, as a keeper, I might keep a defense in fantasy. You never know. But, no, I 100% have Philly. Their run game's better. Their pass game's better. I have more faith in Jalen Hurts, and I don't have a lot of faith in Jalen Hurts. I have more faith in Jalen Hurts than I do in Dak Prescott. So, yeah, I think Philadelphia Eagles get it done week 1.
Did anybody say anything in the chat? Anyone vote on it?
100% on Philly. 100% on Philly.
Okay. Yeah, so we're with the people right now. This next game, a lot of people have it as like a landslide pick, 80-20. I'm going with the Chiefs here. It should be a good football game, but I look at it that the Chargers haven't won versus Kansas City since 2021. And they just don't have the weapons to do it. I think if you got some great wide receiver help and you had a star on offense, I know McConkey's great. Love that man. But you had one more piece on offense, you might win this football game. But the Chargers always come up short. They always lose by a score. And we're always thinking afterwards, man, the Chargers are so close. And we've been saying that for how long now? I don't expect that to change. I'm taking the Chiefs in this football game.
They've got Najee Harris. But that does not sway my decision.
Wow. Because he was so great with the Steelers.
Hey, man, that's Pirate Najee. He's missing an eye, remember? 4th of July, he missed an eye. Anyway, no, that doesn't sway my decision. Now, shockingly, that's an 80-20 split on that matchup if you see right there. 20% of people actually believe the Chargers are going to win this game. Hey, kudos to you. Don't know why you would. Because Chiefs have Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. They don't have Rashee Rice, but they still have Juju Smith-Schuster. And, I mean, he's old, and he's not in his prime anymore, but, I mean, he's there. He could catch, quick little rundown plays. And, also Pacheco. They've got Pacheco to run the ball. They brought back Kareem Hunt. So, I mean, I don't see KC losing this game in the slightest. I think KC easily gets there. It's an easy 1-0 for KC. They'll walk away with the win, and that'll be the start of the KC season.
I don't know if I fully agree with you on the whole easy part of things. The Chiefs, you mentioned all the guys they have. They're better than most teams, like 2 at each position. I don't look at any of the guys they have and be like, wow, that guy's a superstar. But you got Mahomes back there. He can spread the football out. As long as those guys give him a step or two, he's going to find them. And I know their game plan is going to be spot on, as it always is with their coaching staff. The next game, This one has a bit of a split among people I know. But the people on ESPN are going Bucks all the way here, 83% of the people. And I have to agree with them on this one. Look, we do not know what Michael Penix is yet. He had some flashes last year, but only got a few starts, and now he's been on film, so coaches can start scheming against him. You have to look at this game and say, the Bucks are the safe pick, and I'm going against you. And I can't risk week 1 going for an upset pick when I don't have full faith in their quarterback or their abilities. Now, I will say, the thing that makes this close for me is the coaching. The Bucks head coach, man, he seems like he's over his head a lot. He has a lot of talent on the roster, but I don't know if he's the guy to get them to a Super Bowl. But it should be enough to beat the Falcons, and it should be enough to win the division this year.
Oh yeah. I'm with you. I picked Tampa Bay too. These first few games are just kind of easy picks for me. Atlanta Falcons are still in a rebuild era. They still don't know what they want to do with Kirk Cousins, even though they paid him absolutely dummy money for him to be a QB too. But they paid him. He's paid. But Tampa Bay, they have Baker. They've got Mike Evans. Chris Godwin will be back semi-soon. October, I think, is when he's officially coming back. Bucky Irving's just phenomenal on the ground, plus on the defense. They're not the most dominant defense, but they're good enough to stop the Falcons. I think the Buccaneers take this all the way. I don't think it'll be easy, but I definitely think that the Buccaneers are not going to have as much resistance as they might later on down their schedule line.
Yep, I agree. We're going to move on to the next one. We don't have to talk about this one much. Look, it's your guys versus the Browns. Unless you have the Browns somehow winning, let's just be real here. It's hard to trust the Browns with what they have. They don't have the firepower to keep up, and even though the Bengals' defense is poor, I don't see Joe Flacco and that cast around him putting up enough points to win this football game. I don't know if you disagree, though. What do you think?
Oh, no, I'm with you on that one. I'm Bengals all the way here. Here's the thing. If the Bengals even remotely get close to losing to the Browns, I'm gonna have to bash my head into the wall, because I will see myself as the bad luck charm for the Cincinnati Bengals if that happens. I don't think there's any shot that the Bengals lose this game. I think the 7% that are right there on ESPN, those are all the Browns fans that are in existence right now. Those are all Browns fans that are voting for that. Nobody else in their right mind is thinking the Browns are taking this game.
I'll say one thing to keep an eye out for. The Bengals have been really slow to start the season the last few years, and last year they lost to the Pats in their opening game. So they need to come out and just be themselves and don't beat themselves, and they should win that football game. The next one we got is the Dolphins and the Colts. We're starting to get into that upset territory where some people might say the Colts could win this football game, but I am going to go with Miami on this one, and I wrote a note down for every single one of these games, and some of them I went in depth. This one I said...
Chat voted for Cleveland, by the way.
That person's trolling. Mods banned that. No, I wrote down one sentence for this game as my note, and it is, Miami doesn't have Daniel Jones as their quarterback. That should be enough for the Dolphins to win this football game. They have weapons. They have more talent at the skill positions. While there's still holes in their roster, the Colts are in the same boat. They have a lot of holes, but their best players aren't as good as the Dolphins' best players. And coaching-wise, I'll take McDaniels over Steichen in this one. I think the Dolphins get it done.
Give me the Colts.
What?
Give me the Colts. 110% give me the Colts. Miami is they are in a culture crisis right now.
I'm going to be in a crisis.
He said misclick, and I can't change it, so he meant to put Cincinnati,
okay,
but he put Cleveland.
Good.
But Miami is in a culture crisis right now. Tyreek Hill jacked up that whole team last season by saying, "We're just not good. I want to leave. I want to trade. I'm done." This is the first year that Tyreek Hill is on the Miami Dolphins, and he's not wearing that C patch on his chest. His teammates do not trust or even believe in him enough to be a part of that. And I think that's going to Tyreek's performance is entirely dependent on if Tua's healthy, right? And I know earlier today Tua said that he's, that their relationship is good and that he might have blown it out of the water. I don't think he did. I don't think he blew it out of the water. I think Tua was just a little bit too honest. And now he has to say, "Oh yeah, we're good," so that way it doesn't create bad blood between the rest of the team. So no, I think while Indy is an absolute mess, of a team. I think this game is just mess versus mess. I think this thing is literally just two teams who can't figure out what they're doing halfway through the season anyway. So they're just like throwing it. They're throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. So I'm going to take Indy.
You better lock that in on your ESPN picks, because I'm going to be upset if you didn't actually lock that in. Look,
I'm not going to show you my next pick real quick, but there you go.
All
I
right.
have it right there.
Yep, you have
I
receipts.
have it. It is on stream.
You better not change
it'll be
that.
on the recording. It is Indy right now.
I just, we're going to disagree sometimes this year. That is one that I can't see it. I really can't. I like the coaching better on the Dolphins. Better quarterback, more consistent. I mean, even if their game plan is legitimately short passes to Waddle and get the ball to Achane, that's enough for them to win this game, in my opinion. But you think differently, and that is the beauty of this show. I love it. I like that you're confident about your pick. This next game just had something change that's going to change the outlook for us. We have a retirement. I'll let you talk about it.
Oh my God! So, ladies and gentlemen, about 5 minutes before the show started, maybe even less than that, I decided to, just kind of look at my phone for a quick second while I'm setting up my notes, and all of a sudden I'm looking at Twitter, and I see Ami Remrov, I think is his account on Twitter. I can't remember, but it's like it's at My Sports Takes or something, and and it was like, Amari Cooper retires. I was like, that can't be right. Like, he just signed a 1-year contract. Like, he just signed to the Raiders. And then the NFL post popped up right after saying Amari Cooper has announced his retirement after 10 years. So, that changed my pick entirely. I had the Raiders going into this week. I really did. Because I figured it was going to be Geno Smith to Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper could kind of brute force his way a little bit and then go on down the field. Nope. Not in the slightest. Nope. Amari Cooper decided, you know what? I know I just signed this contract, but I'm done. I don't want to play for the Raiders anymore. I don't want to be a part of this. And this comes after Jacoby Myers requested a trade. I don't know what's happening in Vegas. Normally when they get a head coach as prolific as Pete Carroll, you want to be a part of that rebuild. You want to be a part of it and see the success of what could be.
But
Pete Carroll has had 2 receivers, specifically wide receivers, now either won a trade or completely quit.
God knows what's happening.
So that just makes me question, what is the atmosphere in that Vegas facility right now? What is making those receivers want to quit? Is it that Pete Carroll prefers the running back? He prefers to have, the Marshawn Lynch approach? Maybe that Super Bowl still haunts him. He doesn't like receivers. He knows he should have ran it, so he's just preferring that running back. But no, after that, I gotta take New England. There's just no way I can take anyone other than New England. So yeah, that's my reasoning.
I'm with you on you're talking about the atmosphere in the locker rooms. Mike Vrabel is a man of the people. He's out there on the field. He's breaking up fights. He's in there in the huddle. He's lining up and playing with the players. The players respect that, and they responded well to that in Tennessee. I like him taking over the team here in New England, and I'm looking at my notes for this, and I originally wanted to take the Raiders too. And I didn't change this before the show. I eventually just decided with the Patriots because I went down the depth chart of both the teams, looked at some of the stats from last year, and neither of these teams' run defense are great, but I have more faith that Drake May, as long as he doesn't have an awful game, if he's just okay with the new O-line and the new tools he has around him, can distribute the ball, get it to people like Henderson, get it to Diggs, and just do enough to win the football game. Because neither of these teams are probably going to be in the playoffs. The Patriots might if they play great. And this game should be really fun to watch. But I just think the Patriots have a bit more and especially with Cooper being gone now, they should win this football game. But it's yet to be seen how Vrabel is going to coach this team, how the team's going to respond, how they're going to play, how he's going to scheme, and if Drake May is going to take a jump into year 2. We're going to move on to the next game. If you're taking the Saints... Oh,
hold on. I want to acknowledge the chat for a second. This person here picked Vegas. And it wasn't a misclick. Give me the Raiders. Zuggy Zone is writing Geno off, but he ain't writing back.
I love that. Hey, look, it's the most highly contested game this week on ESPN as far as I know. I mean, maybe the Bills game is right there, but 55 to 45. It is one that a lot of people are going to win some money and lose some money on.
Oh, yeah.
This game doesn't need much of an explanation. Spencer Rattler's the Saints QB. You guys are back to being the Aints. Wear your paper bags to the games and somehow get your GM fired. Because Mickey Loomis is ass. Your whole situation, your whole organization, the way that it's run top down, has put you guys in a bad spot for the future. And it's either Rattler or Shuck for you guys. And everyone else in your team is an aging vet that doesn't have a lot of upside. The Cardinals at least have hope. They have some guys at the skill positions that we like. I think they're a more well-rounded team.
Harrison Jr., not Zach Ertz. They have James Conner at running back. They have position players. Kyler Murray, jury's still out, which is weird because, he's been in the league a minute now. Jury shouldn't still be out, but they're out.
Yeah.
No, the Arizona and Saints. Honestly, I think the Saints are doing what everybody's expecting them to do, and that's tank till Arch Manning is ready, and then they're going to throw everything at getting Arch Manning. They're going to try and tank and get Arch, and he's going to try and be their solution at quarterback. It was funny. I went to a high school game, my fiance, not long ago, and I saw a guy decked out in full Saints gear at this high school football game.
Why?
So, I walked up to him, I'm like, boss man, I got a question for you. He's like, yeah? I was like, I see it decked out in it. What is your expectation for the season? I just asked him point blank. I'm like, what are your expectations? And he immediately, no hesitation, no pause, quote for quote, oh, we're going to be ass. They know. Their own fan base knows they're going to be bad. But they don't care. Because just like how I said the Arch Manning thing, that is the very next thing that came out of his mouth, is that they are just waiting for Arch Manning. So that is pretty much...
Whichever one comes out.
That whole mindset is the whole New Orleans Saint mindset. So, yeah, I think even the Saints fans are giving up on this season. And I think the Cardinals are the safest pick.
Yeah, they're going to win maybe 2 games this year. It isn't going to be this week. This game had a lot of intrigue for me. I personally had a lot of thought going into this one because I'm not high on the Steelers this year. A lot of people say they're going to the 9-8 Super Bowl. I think they're going to have a losing record for the first time in a while. They're going to be bad. I can't see this team, the way it's constructed, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, with your number 1 wide receiver being Metcalf, and then just the rest of the team having all the holes that it does. I just can't see them being great. But
Cam Hayward's sitting out.
Right,
and
that's
didn't get his deal done.
Stupid. He's also just being stupid. I'm not going to hold back on that one. I think that's a stupid decision on his part. But
oh yeah,
the Jets just had an injury to Vera Tucker, so now they got to reshuffle their O-line. And I just think that O-line was going to need to hold up here, and the Jets were going to need to run the football. Between Fields and the running backs they have, that was their key to victory. And with the O-line being shuffled up this late, right before the season, I just don't know if it's going to be enough or be good enough to get the Jets the W. And I get it. The Steelers have a really bad secondary right now. Does not look good. But Justin Fields is the quarterback for the Jets. And he's kind of proven time and time again he's not great at pushing the ball down the field. So the secondary shouldn't be as much of an issue. But if Fields actually looks decent in this game, I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets took it.
And honestly, that's where my pick goes. I'll even show it on stream.
Nice.
Yeah, my pick is for the Jets. I am a staunch Justin Fields believer, right? I think that he got a bad rep on the Bears. I think that he should have been the starter for the Steelers last year, not Russell Wilson. He had them in 3-2. They were winning, right? They were winning. Barely, but still winning. But you only got him in for 5 weeks. You were still banking on Russell Wilson. And then, just because Wilson was healthy, you put him in. It's like, but that makes no sense. You have a winning quarterback in. Why would you change it? And part of me is saying that's why they're 9-8. That's why they were 9-8 last season. But you know, the Steelers wanted to bring Fields back. Fields said no. He went to the Jets. And I think with Breece Hall, with Garrett Wilson, I think between those two, he'll be able to secure that.
Okay, and they also have a new head coach. I like that signing for them. I liked them bringing in that man, but unfortunately, I disagree with you. I think the Steelers get it done, but I hope for a good game. I really want these mid-tier matchups to be entertaining, as we all do. We don't want to watch blowouts. This one should be close. Yeah. This should be a fun football game to watch, and there's a lot of intrigue in this one on, is Aaron Rodgers going to look good, and is Justin Fields going to figure it out? Definitely some storylines to look out for. Giants, Commanders, I'm taking the Commanders. The Giants are going to take a lot of steps forward this year, but the Commanders are on a warpath. They won a Super Bowl this year, and the Giants just want to be okay and give Dart time to get ready to be a starter.
I think I'm in the same boat as you there. I mean, the Commanders are on their way. I mean, Dan Quinn, what he did with that program, the turnaround, my God, man. You brought them from bottom of the division to the NFC Championship. Oh,
that was really awesome.
Oh, I mean, man, you are phenomenal. However, I think New York right now, I mean, their players look happy. Their players want to be there. And that's very new for New York because they were under Daniel Jones. And when Daniel Jones was there, it looked like they were constantly under a rain cloud. Now it looks like that whole organization is breathing a new breath of life just between Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart. It still baffles me that Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback. But I appreciate it, and I like it. I'm not opposed to it. It does shock me, but I'm not opposed to it. Let your first-round draft pick develop. That's why I really like organizations that do that. I'm not a Giants fan in the slightest. But they are doing probably the smartest thing that they can do by throwing Jackson Dart, who looks good in the preseason, right? Looks great. Could probably go out there and win a few games for you now. You're still putting him at QB2 behind Russell Wilson so that way he could develop further, so that way he can get into that NFL mindset. So that way it's not just a, hey, we're going to throw you to the Wolves, win this game for us, or you're going to be labeled as a bad QB. It's like, no, you're developmental. Let's develop you, get you into that NFL mindset, move forward.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks that are hoping to develop, our next game, we got the Jags and the Panthers. I'm taking the Jags here, but the Panthers, I think they're going to shock some people with how many games they win this year, assuming Bryce Young keeps doing with what he did at the end of last season. But the Jags have a much more talented roster, and if T-Law just doesn't make a bunch of mistakes in this football game and just gets it to his guys, executes the game plan, Jags should win. But it's another game where I really am hoping for a competitive contest because I want to see Bryce Young, Tetroa McMillan, and all the boys start turning things around. Football's more fun when you don't have terrible franchises stinking it up at the bottom every year. And the Panthers are hopefully going to climb out of the dumpster this year. I don't think they're going to win week 1.
See, that's where we differ. I have Panthers picking it up. Look, Travis Hunter, great pickup for the Jags. And they're really trying to develop. However, Trevor Lawrence can't stop throwing hospital balls, man. He is probably one of the worst decisions at quarterback you could have made because of just he's gotten you to the playoffs once, but you label him now as your franchise quarterback. And you make him one of the highest. Like he's just under Dak Prescott, I think. Like, he is one of the highest paid players right now. He has one playoff appearance. And he's the highest paid. How? It baffles me.
Because the Jags were desperate. I mean, they were truly desperate. They had a guy that was successful, looked really good for them, and they rushed into it. I mean, they had a few years left on his rookie deal, but they said, we're going to give you the money now, and that's just the Jags being the Jags. I mean, they have bad ownership. They have bad management over the years. They're trying to fix it. But they should beat the Panthers.
Look, maybe I'm putting a little bit too much faith into Hunter Renfrow, but I think that Bryce Young, Hunter Renfrow connection, that's going to be special. I think that Bryce Young, we saw it at the end of last season. He was starting to get comfortable. He was finally starting to break that mold of looking like the scared, timid kid behind the line. It looked like he was finally starting to be like, oh, I'm in the NFL and I belong here. So I think it's a Panthers upset for this one. I think the Jags lose.
All right, well, we're going to hammer through the rest of these as we're kind of getting up on our time here. We're already over an hour on today's show. Tennessee Titans, Denver Broncos. You have the Broncos, correct?
Nope, I have the Titans.
Dude, are you trolling?
Not even joking. I have the Titans.
What? They don't, even if Cam Ward has a good football game, the rest of that team is awful. The Titans are a bad team.
In the secondary. Legitimately sneak in the secondary.
No. Okay,
Titans.
You can take the Titans. I'll take the win. I'll just take the W. I'm not going to fight you on it. I'm going to take my W. Bo Nix and the rest of the gang have better coach, more complete roster, 10 times the defense of the Titans, and they at least know at QB.
This?
Yeah, I will clip this. I'm definitely going to clip this.
Because when we come back to it, you'll see Titans.
They're not winning the football. Okay.
What is it? Tighten up? Tighten up? There we go. Tighten up.
Yeah, they need to tighten up because they suck. Tighten up your defense. You're awful. All right.
They're going to be better than the Broncos this week. Let's go.
Let me guess. You took the Seahawks here.
No, I did take the Niners.
Thank God. All right. Return to reason. The San Francisco 49ers. Look, we know what they have as a team. We know Brock Purdy's good. They have better weapons. They're a more complete team than the Seahawks. They lost some pieces. I think the Rams are still going to take that division, but the 49ers should beat the Seahawks in this one. You agree with that?
Yeah.
All right.
I agree with that one.
And then one of the big games, we debated it earlier, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers. I have the Lions strictly because I don't know. Like, we're going off of the Packers should be good. They should be good. But I'm picking against you here. And it's week one. You try to stay safe week one. You want to be in a spot where you're not chasing your opponent the rest of the year and pick them. So I'm going with the Lions here. And I just, I like the roster for both these teams. But top to bottom, the Lions got the Packers beat at almost every position.
I got the Packers.
Yeah, of course you do.
I got the Packers.
You're going to be down by like 5 games after this week, man.
Probably. No, I've got the Packers. Their wide receiver core might not be like, as stacked as the Lions, but I think Jordan Love this is one of his prove it seasons. If Micah Parsons plays, that's going to shut down Jared Goff hard.
So they'll run the ball.
Sonic and Knuckles. I got a feeling Packers bring it out this week. I think they're fighting with ferocity to show, hey, we are in our Super Bowl window. Let us show you. And I think they're going to use the Lions as a statement piece for that.
Well, I'll throw you a bone here because this was my one upset of the week that I was like, I got to pick an upset. I might as well go with this game right here. You got the Rams, you got the Texans. And I look at this game and I say the Rams secondary looks pretty suspect right now, and I don't love their rushing attack. People are high, and I have their running back in some of my fantasy leagues. But last year, they were not a good running team. They just weren't. And I understand
very heavily on the pass.
The passing game will be more open this year because you have Nakua, you have Adams. That's going to make other teams really have to focus on those two and take them away, and you might be able to run the ball a bit better. But even though Nick Chubb is the running back in this one, I still think the Texans can get it done on the ground, and C.J. Stroud is going to have a bounce-back year this season. I have them taking this one, but it's an upset. And that's one of those picks where I'm not super sure on it, but I had to look at the rosters and really break it down. And I know I'm not doing a good job explaining it. I kind of stumbled over myself a lot here.
No, I mean, I couldn't explain it better myself. Because guess what? I also had the Texans pick.
There we go.
Well, we agree on the upset for the Texans with the Rams. And by the way, Chad agrees with me on Green Bay, so let's go.
Yeah, the one person.
Anyway, hey, one more person than you.
Hey, we'll take one person. We'll take one person
exactly.
in the chat.
No, I think the Texans are just going to get this one. Their offense looks a little bit better. They're securing their defense and making it that young, very powerful defense. I don't, like you said, Kyron Williams, I like him. He's from St. Louis. He's a good running back. I don't think that he's going to be able to break that D-line, and I don't think he's going to be able to I don't think the Rams are going to be able to break that secondary either. So, yeah, I took Texans.
Yeah, because the Texans secondary is nasty. You have some dogs back there. They were really solid last year despite the team's struggles. I expect them to be just as good or even better this year, and the Rams like to go through the air. So this changes their game plan, have to go through the ground or short passes behind the line. I don't think that works out for them, especially if C.J. Stroud looks good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my team is the favorite, 57%.
Really?
Now, we talked about this a while back. We went through when we broke down our schedules for the year. You broke down the Bengals. I broke down the Bills. We disagreed on this, and I knew we were going to disagree on this. I want my guys to win.
And we still disagree on it.
I already know I'm getting the Titans game for free off of you, so I hope I lose this one. But the Bills...
That's wild.
The Bills do not inspire confidence in me this year in the regular season. Yes, we should be fine in the playoffs, but this team was sluggish in the preseason. We have guys that should be key players for us that have nagging injuries right now. And I don't have a good feeling about what we have going into this year. We're going to be a contender. Yeah. Do we have enough to beat the Chiefs? Probably not. Do we have enough to beat the Ravens week 1? This is a 50-50 game, and we're not going to be the motivated team. The Ravens lost to us last year. They lost in a way that was heartbreaking to the rest of the squad. One man cost them that football game. Mark Andrews had a bad game. He just did. And I don't think he's going to have one in this game. And I believe the Ravens will be the better team, come out more motivated. It'll be close. I think the Ravens win by 10. I really do.
See, yeah, we're going to disagree on that one. I think Buffalo... Look, Buffalo had a strong season. They're coming off an AFC Championship appearance. I think both these teams are just dying to finally get to that Super Bowl. They have been so dominant and so killer, and they are just hungry for it. I think the Bills are a little bit more hungry, though. Because with the Ravens, they have been stacking and stacking their roster. Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins they took off the Chiefs this year. I don't know why DeAndre Hopkins didn't do anything for the Chiefs last season. Why they won him, I don't know, but they took him.
Depth is good.
Depth, but I mean, I see the Bills have always done more with less, and I see that especially this year. They're doing more with less. And I think when Gabe Davis comes back, you are going to have a check down receiver that is good for those.
But we have
Because you got to think, some of those... Khalil Shakir's phenomenal. Keon Coleman's great. But Gabe Davis is coming in already knowing this offense and already making some of those clutch plays for Buffalo in the past.
Yeah, he did.
While yes... the Ravens do have a little bit more stack on them, I see the Bills taking this one. I 100% see the Bills taking this game.
Should be entertaining. I'm going to be crapping my pants the whole game. But I know one game doesn't make our season unless it's the playoffs. The real season for both of these teams is in the playoffs. Can they get it done? Can they rise to the occasion? And historically, they have not been able to do so. But you got some teams in the NFC to wrap things up that are hungry this year. You got a rookie QB starting for the Vikings, second-year QB for the Bears. Lots of talent in all the skill positions. And I'm taking the Vikings in this one because they already know the offense. They don't have to change a whole lot. They don't have a new coach coming in. It's consistency. They know what they did last year, and as long as McCarthy just checks it down, and let's be real, he's going to have some wide open receivers because Jefferson is amazing, always going to have a step or two on somebody. He's not going to have to throw perfect balls into tight windows. It's going to be an ultra easy start to his career for him. Should be a good football game, but I don't have a lot of faith in Caleb Williams or the Bears for that matter. I'm taking the Vikings here.
I'm in the same boat. I have no faith in Caleb Williams. I don't think he's their answer, even though they're building around Caleb Williams. I think that the Bears are an awful organization. They draft QBs and then they tear them down. Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, and now Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams wasn't even the best quarterback of his own draft. Drake May is in higher standing than him. Jaden Daniels went to the NFC Championship, and the Bears still went with Caleb Williams. They also have Rome Odunze. I think the only person who I want to win off of the Bears is Luther Burden III because he was a phenomenal receiver here at Mizzou.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, I think the Bears are in for another very rough season. I think they're in for a very rough show. And I think the Vikings just they take advantage of that.
All right.
I think by far the Vikings they're the better all-around team, and they're going to take advantage of that.
All right, so the final thing for the Pick'em Challenge is how many points will be scored between the Vikings and the Bears. That is the tiebreaker on this website. I don't
think we're going to need the tiebreaker, but
I don't think we are. We have enough games different that it shouldn't happen. I'm going with a low-scoring affair. I'm going with 35 points. Both these teams have pretty solid defenses, and I don't think it's going to be a shootout because I don't think Caleb Williams has the ability to score enough points in a shootout.
That's fair. I have mine a little bit higher. I have mine at 56.
Wow. Okay.
I think both of them are going to get some pretty good touchdowns. I think both of them are going to do well. But I think a lot of those points are going to be coming from the side of the Vikings. I don't think a lot of those points are going to be coming from the Bears. Because, the Bears have lost more defensive components than they have picked up. I think the Vikings offense are going to bully the Bears defense bad. That's where my thought process is.
I'm also bummed with the Bears that they have such a improved O-line. Everyone's expecting it to be great, and you still have Swift as your starting running back. But that is all for our special segment of the week. And normally we'd move into what's more likely here, but we got to cut out one segment just to keep going. Would you rather cut out what's more likely or the hot takes?
Let's do what's more likely.
You're going to cut that out, or we're going to do it?
Cut it out. We'll cut it out.
All right, then we're going to go into the trenches where we give you guys our hot takes every week, where Jet famously said, let's move the Browns out of Cleveland. So that's the type of hot takes you're getting here. We speak our minds. We go all in on our hot takes, and I think mine's pretty straightforward. I'll give you the spotlight of being the second guy here so we can finish off of yours, because yours is going to be better than mine. Let's be real here.
I don't know about that, but let's see.
So my hot take, and maybe if you are working for ESPN or the NFL as one of the higher-ups, you'll disagree with this, but I feel like everybody right now this season should be pirating Red Zone and NFL products. They keep raising the prices. They keep moving stuff off of their site. We as fans are getting punished for wanting to watch football. And I'm a college student. You're a college student. We don't have a whole lot of money, and I'm relying on my parents' cable subscription. The minute that runs out and I'm out of the house, how am I supposed to watch my sports? Well, there are options out there, and I'm not going to name their names, but there are websites that offer stuff for free, and while you shouldn't do it, it's there. And I have my cable subscription, so I'm not pirating stuff right now, but I think that's the move this season. The NFL does not care about us.
I will say this. The official stance of Zuggy Zone, we are against piracy, but there are options.
Yes, we are against piracy, but the NFL is encouraging it. There are ways to make the fans happier. There are ways to make more money, like bringing in more fans. You did that with Taylor Swift, and there are so many good content creators out there that exist that could collaborate with you to get different markets to watch your sport or grow the game globally. Instead, you keep sticking it to the fans. You added ads to Red Zone, which once again was a premium channel that we have to pay more for as cable subscribers to access. We paid for it because it's great. We love Hanson. We love the way it's produced and the way it's shot. No ads is great. We don't miss any of the action. It's just non-stop football. And you took that away from us. So as far as I'm concerned, the NFL and all of these other companies can take a flying leap right now. I mean, I'd love to work for you. I'd love to work for these companies. I want to go into broadcasting. But you cannot punish the fans for just wanting to be fans. There are other ways to run your business that would not hurt the people that are buying your product.
You know, I agree. I really do, because kind of like you, I watched everything off of Stream East. I might have planned on watching a game or two on Stream East this season. But, you know, you are making it impossible to access your content because you're putting everything behind a subscription service, a paywall, on your own app, or even if we do get those paywalls, there's 1,000,001 commercials. I'm watching more commercials during a football game than an actual football game. And I think that's the sad part. Even my fiance, she even said, you know, we went to a high school football game. It was like 2 hours, and they were in the fourth quarter. They were about to wrap the game up. She's like, really? It's going that quick? I'm like, yeah, it's high school football. There's no ads.
Right.
College and, you know, NFL, they're littered with ads to where games take 6 hours. On a good day. On a good day. So, no, having Stream East disappear hurts, and I feel you on that one. I don't think that's that hot of a take. I think that's good.
I just wanted to get to the people on that one. I mean, I personally know people that are going to cut out Red Zone because of this. And it's valid. I mean, why pay for a product and spend all that money if they're just going to continually make the product worse? But that's my hot take. What is your hot take of the week?
My hot take is that I don't know. This might irk some people, and I definitely don't know if I 100% agree with this.
Ooh.
Jerry Jones might be a smart man for the first round pick trades. Jerry Jones might be smart for it, because he was on record he said that we don't have to use them all, and I hate to acknowledge the fact that he doesn't have to use them in the draft, and I hate to acknowledge the fact that he's right. I mean, I don't think he's near as cognizant to what he could do, what he did in the past, where he got 5 players, but if he dropped all 5 players, he'd get 5 draft picks in return. I don't think that's ever going to happen again in Jerry world. But he could trade those 2 first-rounders for some secondary help. Shit, who's to say McDuffie is safe on the Chiefs? Yeah. Give the Chiefs a couple first-round draft picks. Some extra first-round draft picks. Let them draft their secondary. I think the thought process is there, and it has the possibility to be good, so I think Jerry Jones was smart. I do think the trade overall was pretty dumb, but I think what he got out of it was semi-smart. And part of me is having to convince myself, but that's also because I'm thinking like that, and it's like, two first-rounders, you're never going to get more than 2 first-rounders out of a team. You're never going to get 2 first-rounders out of a team.
The Browns gave the Texans a whole lot of first-rounders for Deshaun Watson. I felt like Parsons was worth a little bit less than that, but almost there. You got a premium edge rusher who's young and not cost-controlled, let's be real. He's getting paid $1 billion,
But I think the entire league saw that and how bad that went, and I don't think anybody's wanting to do a trade like that ever again. I think the whole league put that on.
The Browns would do it again.
2 first-rounders.
The Browns would 100% do it again. I think Jerry Boy would do that trade. If tomorrow Dak Prescott randomly retired, he was like, Henry Ruggs, he exists. I'll sign him onto my football team because Stuff like that. He just doesn't care. He just wants to win games, but he doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Look, I get it. The haul wasn't awful, but they're going to be late round picks with a really competitive team, and you had no leverage. You waited all that time, and I get what you're saying. The trade wasn't bad, so you're ignoring the stuff before. That's not part of your take. But as a GM, you can't just lose all your leverage on a guy like that. That was a prize pick. That's a guy that could have a statue outside of the stadium one day, and you're trading him, so you better get his replacement or a massive haul, and I don't think he did. Well, that was Into the Trenches. Those were some fun hot takes. We're going to move into Battle of the Bets month number 2. So last month, I took home the crown, but neither of us had the month we wanted. I'm only up $27, basically, and you lost all the 100. We just didn't have a very good month on the betting side of things. Vegas is good at what they do, but Battle of the Bets, here we are. $100 for both of us, and we get to put together a 3-leg parlay every single show. And what we're going to do is we're going to bet some of that money until there's none left at the end of the month, and the person with either the most amount of money won, or if we're tied, the most amount of legs won will be the winner of Battle of the Bets. Jet, we're going to go with you first. Here is your parlay.
Yes,
let's break it down. That's not math, by the way. You have 75 remaining. That's on me.
All good. So, starting at the top, we got Dak Prescott, lower than 248.5 passing yards. I think Dak, I don't think he's going to get it done through the air. I think the Eagles secondaries, they were phenomenal last year. They were great. Look at the Super Bowl. They shut down Patrick Mahomes. Dak Prescott is not a Patrick Mahomes. Not glazing or anything, but putting comparison between the two, Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback, 110%, and even with him having CeeDee Lamb, he's not going to be able to get it done. So, I think less than 250, less than 248, no, I think that's a safe bet. Jake Elliott, higher than 1.5 field goals made. That is entirely dependent on if the Eagles will get more than 2 touchdowns, essentially. Or no. That is dependent on if the Eagles won't get a touchdown. Might have been smarter to go with the lower, especially with Dallas's, recent defensive troubles, shall we say.
It adds to the odds.
But, 2 field goals, I still feel like that's very highly possible.
He should get
even
that done.
he should 100% get that done. And then Saquon, higher than 96.5 rushing yards. I don't see a world where Saquon gets less than 100 yards in a game, especially not with the Cowboys. Not with the Cowboys' defensive situation. Maybe if they were playing the Lions, maybe if they are playing the Cowboys, or not the Cowboys, maybe if they're playing the Packers, my bad. Not the Cowboys. All 3 of my picks are very heavily reliant on him, so we'll actually know the results of my picks tonight.
Very nice.
It's going to be great.
I don't know about Barkley. I am scared that they are. I'm not scared. That's the one I'm questioning, because I agree with your other ones. I think they're going to kick 2 field goals. Jake Elliott's a decent kicker. He's not going to miss anything. But if the Cowboys put up some fight early in the game and force the Eagles to throw the football, that's my only concern. But I think that's fine. That almost feels like a free $150, and I like your parlay. But I saw your bets, and I can't copy them, so I had to come up with my own, and this is what we're going with here today. I'm not a guy who usually bets on lowers. I'm not a hater like that. But George Pickens really struggled down the stretch last year with the Steelers, and tonight he's going up against a really tight secondary in Philadelphia. He's going to have to make some tough catches, and he's proven over his career that his hands can be questionable, that he has some dropsies, and let's be real, he's not the most motivated player on the planet, so he might run the wrong route sometimes. I'm going lower 55.5. I understand that, Lamb's going to be double-teamed the whole time. That's not going to stop Dak. He's just going to chuck it to him the whole time. CeeDee's going to bring in all the yards, and George Pickens, maybe he has 30 or 40 on the day. Lower than 55.5. The Cardinals are up against the Aints. They're going to be in the red zone quite a bit if things go the way I think they will. And James Conner is that guy. Against bad teams last year, he almost always got a touchdown. I'm going with one here today. And then Bijan Robinson. A lot of people are expecting big things, as am I. The whole football world recognizes this guy is a great talent. But last year when they played the Bucs, both games he had less than 70 rushing yards. So I am going to go with the under here. Whatever the Buccaneers are doing, it seems to be working to stop the Atlanta run game. And Michael Penix is a guy who likes to throw the football a bit. I mean, that's not up to him. It's up to the play caller. And I know with Kirko Chains, they were going to air it out. They're going to let Kirko throw the ball. Maybe they don't with Penix. Maybe Bijan gets more opportunities and he goes over. But just going off of history and what's happened in the past, I'm going to go lower than 79.5 rush yards. But he will get some touchdowns. I'm thinking 1 or 2 on the day.
Okay.
So $20 to win 102, and on yours, it is $25 to win 150. So if we both win, you are up, and I need to fix that remaining number so that we don't give you less money on the month.
Please, I need all 75.
Yeah, we're going to need it because it was close last month. It came down to the last day, the last bets. We're going to move into wins and losses, our final segment of the show, where we break down all of the major sports leagues that are going down at the moment, which is the MLB. I mean, it's literally just MLB. This will get more fun later when we got the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL all going, and then you got the playoffs for baseball. But right now, just Major League Baseball.
Is there...
I took over for this last week. I'll let you get the AL going here. If you pull up the main standings, let me know what's going on with those division leaders in that playoff race.
So, division leaders in the playoff race, we're just going to go to the wild card section. We're not even going to worry about the full standings because, let's be honest, the full standings don't really matter at this point. You know, right now we're looking at the top 2 teams, New York Yankees, Boston, and Seattle. I don't think anybody was really shocked at those top 3 teams coming out of the AL. I mean, they were dominant throughout the season. New York, the Yankees specifically, not the Knicks, or the Mets. Sports.
Well, they're orange New York
ball.
teams. They're orange and blue. You're allowed to make that one up.
They are orange and blue.
Yeah.
Hey, it's better than the Padres one I messed up. Anyway, the Yankees and the Red Sox, they're those northeastern teams that are just so dominant year in, year out. And it does not shock me to see them at the top of the AL still. Seattle, you know, they're breaking even. They're doing good. They are,
no, they're not.
You know, they're struggling down the stretch. They're struggling down the stretch,
We're
and
bad.
they really need to fix it. But, hey, you're still the wild card, so let's take it where we can
Look
get
at
it.
these records right here. So at home, we're 41-27, but on the road, we are awful, 32-40. And the strength of our team is our pitching. But on the road, our pitching has been bad. And we keep putting ourselves in spots where late in the game we could come through, we could win, but it's always playing from behind. Just got to get out in front when we need some more consistent pitching because the Rangers are right there. Rangers have played okay baseball. I know they've lost their last 2, but they're nipping at our heels. And if we miss the playoffs, I'm going to crash the fuck out.
Yeah, no, they're only a game and a half behind, and KC 2.5 games right behind them, along with the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, the only teams that have a shot of possibly overtaking Seattle, and it goes all the way down to the Cleveland Guardians of all teams. The Guardians. I mean, 3 games, 2.5, 2.5, 1.5. You are staring down the barrel of possibly getting ranked below KC, Tejas, Tampa Bay, and Cleveland. And Tampa Bay's not even going to be able to play at home if you stare down the barrel of them. You're going to have to play them in a random Little League field.
That's the annoying part is outside of the Rays, you know, they've won their last 1 billion games in a row. They've been hot. But the rest of these teams are just gaining because they're playing 500 baseball and the Mariners keep shitting themselves. And in the NL, you got the Cubs, the Padres, the Mets rounding out that wild card. It's the same thing. These are the teams we want to see as fans. We don't want to see the Giants, and I'd be okay with maybe seeing the Reds, but they're not going to be competitive. They're not going anywhere. These are the 3 teams that are going to make it, and if the other 2 get in, God help them. And then the divisional race, there's still some stuff going on, but a lot of it's been wrapped up, especially the AL Central. The Tigers are going to bring that home. They've just been bad after the break. Going to need to see more from them. Need consistency. You're going into the playoffs as one of the top seeds. You have 81 wins. Do you want to be the 1 seed? Do you want to get a bye? Because right now, look at the Blue Jays. 81 wins as well. And as far as I'm concerned, they've been a bit more consistent than the Tigers. And then you got the Astros who are going to win the division because my team God, Mariners. We were right there. We haven't won the division since 2001, man. And we were a game back at one point. And, I mean, it's not even like the Astros are playing great. They're just not hurting themselves the way we are. And then the NL, you got the Phillies on top of the Mets. They should win that one. The Brewers should wrap up the Central here soon enough. And the Padres and the Dodgers just keep pacing each other. If one gets hot at the end, that team will be the one to win the division. And looking at the Rays, I mean, 80 wins right there, 78, 76. If one of these teams can just get hot and overtake the Phillies at the end, you're looking at a bye, and you're getting through to the divisional and getting out of the wild card. So both those teams need to get it done. I'm pulling for the Padres. I think most of the baseball world would rather see the Padres win than the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah. And, we got to play the sad music. The trumpet swan song, if you will. Colorado Rockies still the only officially eliminated team out of the entire league, by the way. 39-101. Your season will live in infamy with how god-awful you are, Rockies, and...
Feel so bad for the fans.
I feel so bad for the Colorado fans. Like, oh my god, there's no recovering from that.
Just pick up an AL team. Do what I'm doing. I found an AL team that I really liked in the Mariners. And I've been following them really closely. And it wasn't a bandwagon. Don't join a bandwagon franchise. Nobody likes that. Just go out there, pick a team in the AL next year that you're, excited in. Start watching them a bit, because the Rockies are never, ever going to be competitive under this current ownership. They do not invest in minor leagues. They do not invest in their scouting. They do not spend any of the extra money other than what is needed to get the team from point A to point B so they can get their ass kicked every other night.
And... Plus, the only other team is actually in the AL. The only other team that has close to that amount of losses, Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
If that tells you anything,
and that's
the Rockies,
only 88, man.
Yeah, and it's only 88.
Oh my god.
They haven't even hit 90, but they still have won 52 games. You haven't reached win 40, and you're over 100. Oh, God,
it's not the players' fault either, man. They're just set up to fail. It's not fair. We'll stop bullying them.
Bad.
That was wins and losses. That was today's show. I guess to recap everything, neither of us are high on Bama. We're not high on Belichick. We expect Arch to turn it around, and then our pick'ems are wildly different. I was clowning all over you. You could shut me right up, and that'll be a crazy YouTube short. It'll look great, but I don't see it happening. The Titans are not winning.
Indianapolis.
Dude, no. Indy's not winning, and the Titans... Okay, imagine for a second. Cam Ward has a good football game. Do you trust any of his receivers to catch the ball with the game on the line? Because I don't. I don't trust a single one of their guys. Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor.
That's the Colts.
Yeah, that's the Colts. Oh, that is the Colts. You're right.
Yeah. They have Pollard as their starting running back. That doesn't inspire confidence in me. I like Pollard. Pollard's fine. The Titans just aren't supposed to be good. And they're not going to be good. And, week one, anything can happen, but I don't see what you're seeing, man. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not on your side here. But that is all for this week
moment
of Zuggy's Zone. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We got through a live show. It didn't crash. We didn't have issues.
I know!
And I recorded it so I can re-upload it and help us get the views that we need. And
let's go.
I mean, man.
Oh,
look at
and
the
ladies
chat.
and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody. Oh, yes. Go support a local business that has Sunday ticket every week. If you go do that, go to B-Dubs. Go somewhere. They're going to have the games on 110%.
Just go to the local
bar. Go grab
bar.
you some wings. Go have a beer. Go do whatever. Watch your Sunday football. Don't buy Red Zone. Watch it on somebody else's. They already got a company account. You're fine. Go watch it on their dime. Yeah. Also, ladies and gentlemen, fun news. I will have a new setup starting next week. I will not have blank gray wall. I will have a desk and more than a laptop.
Hell yeah.
Your boy Jet's moving up in the world.
I mean, I tried to improve my setup. I put my Bills flag over my lamp to try to give it like a fun neon effect of the light running down it, but
I like that. The Bills flag is nice.
all right. Well, thank you guys all so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully back on Thursday. We don't know. And we also have a show starting on Tuesday. Not sure if we're going to advertise it over here yet, but if we do, keep an eye out for it. We're covering our local university sports, and we're going to have an athlete on this week. But that's all. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.